And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome everybody to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, how are you doing on this fine Sunday?
Doing so well. It is a fine Sunday. It is the first Sunday in October, Brad,
Yes.
which makes me very happy. I think you and I are known to be big fans of this month and the season change. If we could say we have season changes in Arizona, are forthcoming. So yeah, man, doing so good. Lots of blessings this past week. I know you and I were obviously chopping it up before we clicked record. So yeah, very happy to be here with you and excited for this episode. How are you?
Doing well, thinking about kind of everything that I have to do right now, and feeling really overwhelmed. But I'm really, well, I don't want to say what I'm grateful for. We'll save that for the end. But I am happy that yesterday was what it was. I'll get into that later in the podcast. I got a little bit done around the house, and hopefully cooler weather is on its way, because I'm over it. I am over it being 100 degrees outside in effing
real.
October. It's so warm out there.
Yeah, man. You know it's on the horizon. We will get to that later. Actually, I have something to say about weather. But yeah, man, I was checking the forecast, and we have a high of 91 by this time next week, at least in the greater Glendale, Arizona area. I don't know about you, but I would imagine maybe it's a few degrees cooler. So we have a lot to look forward to in that regard, for sure.
Yeah, I was looking at it yesterday. I'm going to pull it up right now. I was really thinking about how hot it was going to be, and I wanted to say it was in around that same age, or same range, same age. It's 81 years old. It's 81 right now, and it's supposed to peak at 92. And if I look at the outlook here as it loads, yeah, it gets hotter. Then it dips down back into the lower 90s. Yeah, by next week, high 80s.
I love it. I'm telling you, October, I think I said this before on air, October and March in Arizona.
Yes. Perfect.
It just doesn't get better. It's just lovely to frolic outside.
And for those of you that are listening from some other part of the country or the world, 80 degrees is not your 80 degrees. It is not your 80 degrees. It is Arizona 80 degrees. I'm telling you, I remember the first time my mom came out here to visit. My mom and dad packed shorts and t-shirts, because they're like, well, the lowest it's going to be is 65. I don't need any of that stuff. I'll just bring shorts and t-shirts. They got off the plane and immediately regretted their decisions, because 65 feels like 40 in
Winter.
other places. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's the air is so dry, and you can't understate the importance of dry air like that. 87 is not that bad. Standing in the sun in 87 and standing in the shade in 87 are also like 50 degrees difference. So
Exactly.
there is that. It can be 55 and sunny, and it'll still feel like an inferno, versus 55 and in the shade where you're huddling and you're close to death. Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, you summarized it perfectly, my friend. Well, we have a lot to discuss. Brad, are you ready for my first and only WWE question?
Yes. Absolutely.
So Extreme Rules, it's October. Somehow the calendar is flying, which means that Extreme Rules is this weekend. It's a Saturday event, Brad, which I know excites you and I to high degrees. You are kicking off your fall break with this show, which
can't wait.
Is amazing. So here's my question for you. Extreme Rules, Philadelphia, Saturday. Lots of excitement for this show. I want to run through the card quickly, and then I will ask my official question. Currently, as of this recording, there are 6 matches listed. We have Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey, Extreme Rules for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Matt Riddle versus Seth freaking Rollins. Fight Pit, Daniel Cormier is the newly announced special guest referee. Drew
cool.
McIntyre versus Karrion Kross strap match. Bianca Belair defending her Raw Women's Championship against Bayley in a ladder match. This is going to rule. Edge versus Finn Balor, I Quit. And then finally, the Brawling Brutes, potentially led by new IC champion Sheamus, maybe, versus Imperium in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. So on this very long intro for you, my friend, my question, 6 matches. Which one are you most certain about its outcome? And which are you most unsure about? And please give us your predictions for both matches.
Good question. I think the one that I'm most uncertain of, that's a tough one, man. Probably the one that probably McIntyre and Karrion Kross in the strap match.
Good choice.
Only because they've been building Kross so strongly against Drew that I think that it's Drew's time, but I don't think Kross can win his first match. Or I mean, Kross can lose his first match back on the main roster. So
I agree. Yeah.
So it's one of those ones that's sort of, I feel like Kross has to win, but there's all that doubt in there because I also feel like Drew needs to win because he keeps losing, and it's because of Kross. So what do you do with Drew after this if you keep handing him L's? So unless you turn him heel, which I'd be here for. Bianca versus Bayley is a good one too. I don't know, man. Matt Riddle versus Seth freaking Rollins. Rollins isn't winning in the fight pit. Like,
no,
that's
Riddle is getting his revenge here.
So I kind of feel like that's probably the one that I think is the most obvious one. Wow. So hopefully we get swerved on it because I like that. But I'll also be kind of mad unless Cormier gets in Riddle's face, or if Brock shows up because he is scheduled for a crown jewel. It sounds like that it would make sense for him to show up and get in Cormier's face, and maybe they do something.
Wow. Okay. Intriguing.
But I don't really know. Like, all of these have an element of, I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yes.
Bianca's going to beat
Which is
Bayley,
great.
right? Bianca's beating Bayley. I think
the opposite.
You think Bayley's beating Bianca?
I do, and I think the stipulation lends itself to
ladder match is basically no holds bar, right? Like,
exactly.
Anything goes. Damage control's coming out.
I was gonna say that could be the easy way out as damage control interferes, but Bianca being able to lose the belt while not getting pinned, I think makes a lot of sense because regardless of gender, I think she's been one of the most well-built stars on the entire roster since becoming champ. For me, actually, this is probably the one I'm most certain of. I for sure think Bayley takes the belt, and the damage control is holding or not all the gold, but each member of damage control is a champion after Saturday.
I would have said it's Ronda.
That's also, I think we're getting new champs in both of the women's matches. You don't think there's any shot Liv retains? No. Not at all?
No.
Okay.
No, she'll look great, but no. Okay. I also like
short run.
Boring run. I haven't liked her run at all.
I know you haven't, yeah.
She's not her storylines have been so unintriguing that it's not her fault. She's great. It's just they've been boring.
Yeah.
Like, it's been the same. Like, think about how it started. Ever since then, I've been like, this sucks.
I know you have, and you're not alone. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I love the cash in. I love the win.
Of course.
But her first defense, she cheated to win. And
I don't think a lot of people have come back from that. Yeah.
No. Because Ronda,
I'm talking to one right now. Yeah.
They're having people like cheer Ronda like she's some baby face, but she's not. And I think they were trying to make her not, but they're still cheering her like she's this great like baby face, white meat baby face that's supposed to be cheered while she's like beating the piss out of everybody, which just makes people like her more. It's what they should be doing with Shayna at all times. Shayna should be the one beating the piss out of everybody because Ronda is kind of a charisma vacuum, and Shayna's really good with that stuff. She knows how to work a crowd. She knows how to talk. She has better facial expressions. Like, she's Ronda, but better at professional wrestling. Ronda just has a better look, and she is a multi-time MMA champion. So she's a believable badass. Shayna is a believable badass. Shayna could probably take out almost everybody in that locker room, men included.
I knew you were going to add that. Yeah, men as well.
Yeah. So, well, the same could be said about Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle could probably kill everybody back there too. So, I don't know, man. That's a no matter what happens, I feel like I'm going to lose. because Ronda wins. I don't want to see that again. Liv wins. Cool. That's the better outcome. But like, what do you do from here with Liv's reign? I don't know who Liv Morgan is anymore. Like, I don't understand that character. What is it? What are her goals besides kissing the belt? Like that's her thing right now. It's, right. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Britt's run. Like cool moment, and then it happened, and then everything after that has been kind of meh.
I was gonna say it seemed like so much of the money, and this is not unique to Liv, obviously, because you just cited another example. It seems like so much of the money in Liv was the moment of her actually winning the title, and then I was thinking that as well. Yeah, the synergy between us today. Yeah, love it. Yeah, so much of the money was in that moment, in the cash in, and then it seems like half of the fan bases were already satisfied because we got that moment, and now that it's time for her to have the reign, especially when it starts out on a weird tweener note, it's like, I think I'm ready for the next champ already. Which like
which
Brit,
sucks.
Like
man,
Hangman,
I want to see Liv run. I want to see Liv have this run, man. But but here's what I think can happen. That table spot.
It's amazing.
It was incredible. It's my favorite moment of her run so far. And it wasn't a match. It was just her taking somebody out. She does stuff like that in this match. We'll forget about everything else. If she can really bring it in that match, and kind of show out and have a different side to that Liv personality, I think we're all back, right? Like, I think now we're like, this run rules. This is going to be great, because most of the time, and I know it's like the heel babyface thing to do, but Ronda wasn't a heel. The babyface gets their ass beat for most of the match. They did that with Kevin Nash and Bret Hart, right? Like, didn't Bret Hart get the piss beat out of him for like a majority of their match and then just do a roll up? He schoolboyed him. They got the 1, 2, 3. Right. That's kind of what they did with Ronda, but like, she tapped. So I don't know. The Shayna match was great though. And I know they were legitimizing her run and her ability to be a badass by having her fight the two biggest badasses on the roster. I get it. I totally understand it. I don't care. Like, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Shayna didn't have enough time to build to be credible yet. Like a credible threat. I just felt like, oh, well, they're putting Shayna out there. Even though they started doing the hints with what Ronda was doing, and then Shayna coming out and smashing the hand and stuff, I thought that was all pretty good. But again, it's Liv getting the shit kicked out of her over and over and over and over again, and then going like, she's so tough. And it's like, she's getting her ass kicked constantly. She is tough because she's always losing.
Yeah.
And then they have her do like she wins her match at the end after getting beat up the entire time.
Right.
And I've never thought of Liv as that character that just gets beat up. Have you? Like, before this, is Liv the character that just gets beat up and wins? She used to get beat up and lose.
Right. And there's an issue where if you put Liv in the ring versus Shayna and now Ronda, there's just an air of believability where, I don't know. And I think she's such an awesome wrestler, Liv.
Ronda again.
For her to win by, a schoolgirl roll up or some nefarious means, like we saw it in her first defense against Ronda. Yeah. I think it was at SummerSlam. It's tough. Liv Morgan as champion has presented some booking dilemmas, which I didn't foresee. But you bring up good points here.
Yeah, I love Liv. I hope that it turns around for her, because I want to see this run continue, because it's too short if it ends. But yeah, I mean, it feels like Ronda's the move here, right? Like, it just feels like it.
I would just much rather have Liv. I think you agree.
So would I.
Liv as champ versus Ronda. Yeah,
yes,
but
of course.
I like you and I agree. It's been tough because I don't know. I have slight hope, Brad, that because this is an Extreme Rules match, if this was just Ronda versus Liv in a straight up match, I'm probably leaning Ronda winning, because I don't know that they're going to book Liv Morgan beat Ronda Rousey clean. But because it's Extreme Rules, maybe there's a slight hope that due to the lack of rules in this match, due to weapons being likely, maybe Liv pulls out the victory. I will predict Ronda, but I want Liv. And with that stipulation, Brad, I think there's a higher likelihood that she retains than without it.
The only thing I can see with Bianca versus Bailey is the damage control stuff. Like, we haven't talked about this, and it's not one of my questions, so let's just bring it up now so we can have this conversation at 14:45. I'm saying that so I can mark down the time. Are these all the matches on the card? Number one, you think we get added because there's no bloodline?
Right. Right. I think that proves to what WWE's done well, that we are really, the fan base is really excited about this show without any bloodline on it whatsoever.
I think that'll change. I
Really?
think, yeah, even if it's just a buy-in thing, but like, I can't not see Sammy on it. Like
Okay.
Sammy and Solo doing something against somebody, maybe Kevin Owens and somebody.
I think we
team
have
up.
Solo versus Ricochet on SmackDown this week, right? The big season premiere.
Yeah.
I think this week is the season premiere.
Yeah, it's this week. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
At least
I mean, if Ricochet gets on the card as well, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I'd be surprised that if any of those guys aren't on there. There's no Strowman on here, so I can imagine him running out and trucking people. But we know we're getting the White Rabbit reveal. So my thought was, because like, I don't know, we don't know what the match order is going to be. We don't know what's going to main event. I imagine it's going to be one of the women's titles. If it's Bianca versus Bailey in the ladder match, which would make the most sense to me as the closing the show match versus the opening the show match, which is probably Liv versus Ronda. Having title and title bookend the show feels like a go-to there. If it's Bianca versus Bailey, Damage Control is going to come out there. And then this is what makes all the sense in the world, Tyler. You have Alexa and Asuka going out there. The music plays. Alexa's already out there. That's the thing that causes the turn. That's the distraction. Damage Control gets in and Bianca drops the belt. But it makes the most sense if Bray comes back as a Fiend character, as the Fiend character, and not as something he comes out hopping and was wearing a bunny mask. Like we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what he's coming back as. We're all pretty sure it's Bray. If Alexa's out there now that she's fine and she dropped the doll, but now she's back with the doll again. The last couple of weeks she's been coming out with Lily, and she's expressed her desire to go back to that character and do stuff with Bray because it was working. And it was. I thought it was really compelling because we got it, right? Like, we got it at Mania, the black goo. Which
the night of the black goo. Yep.
Wasn't super here. And the box-like structure. It wasn't super here for all of that. But we got the Fiend returning, and then he got RKO'd for the loss.
One RKO.
What?
Done. Never to be seen again.
Booking. Like, he should have sprung immediately up like nothing happened. like a rubber ball, and then just mandible clawed Randy to death.
Yeah,
but
no kidding, man. I can't.
Yeah, Bray went to. We had the Firefly Funhouse saying we'll see you later, bye, and then we never saw him later. He got released.
That was it.
And Alexa was on her own at that point and came out as like this dark Alexa character, but we never got that payoff. We don't know what they were going to do together. When do you think Bray comes out? Excuse me, White Rabbit. Excuse me. Let me stand up.
I was going to say, I love your tea.
White
Let's
Rabbit.
promote it.
Yeah.
Yes. Finally arrived at the Winchester compound. Definitely one of two options in my mind. And I'm going to be very obvious here. Add Extreme Rules or the Raw following. It has to be one or the other.
Well, we know the reveal is happening at Extreme Rules. It might not be. But like, to your point, will it be the character?
Will we see him in the ring? I'm gonna lean toward the Raw after, but also I think you could. No, I'm gonna change my mind while we record right now. I think we see him live on Saturday in Philadelphia, because we would still be as intrigued to tune in Monday to hear what he has to say for the first time.
Yeah. That makes more sense.
I think we just get him on the screen in Philadelphia and then hey, tune in Monday. Yeah, that would be cool. Kind of. I was gonna say MJF, but that's not true because MJF actually did appear at the pay-per-view. I think we have to get Bray in Philadelphia, and then we'll hear from him for the first time on Monday. Much like when MJF reappeared, we got that package where he unmasked, but then we had the moment of play his music. He arrives out. He doesn't talk, but we see him in the building. I think we need that on Saturday. Just Brad, just imagine the pop on
I can't
Saturday.
wait.
Not just in
You'll hear it.
Philadelphia,
You will hear it
but
here.
in
Yes.
Miranda, Arizona,
Yeah.
at your home. He has to
Yes.
show up. What say you?
I had a thought while you were talking about who's going to host this thing. It's in Philly. It's Extreme. Paul already is doing the advertising. This is how you get the Bloodline on the show. The Bloodline becomes the hosts of the party, right? Like they all come out. Paul Heyman comes out and does his ladies and gentlemen. We're in Philadelphia. Maybe he comes out with a hat on and he's wearing like the coat.
Yeah,
that would be
the
amazing.
lanyard.
Yes. Yeah. He's wearing the trench coat, the lanyard, the hat.
Classic.
He's got a fake ponytail hanging out the back.
Yeah.
He's going to say something about Philadelphia being extreme, and it's going to rule. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, this may be one of the. Truthfully, I didn't do a deep dive on previous Extreme Rules events, but this has to be an absolute revival of the show concept. I don't remember an Extreme Rules that the fan base has been this excited for, and to do that without having without having Roman or the Bloodline on the card's amazing.
We're doing an Extreme Rules preview, huh?
No, those are my last words about Extreme Rules. Bray will be back, and
I mean in the future. I mean later this week. I feel it coming.
You do. The I Quit match, I will say, I think is an absolute sleeper on the card.
Oh, I can't wait.
I am hoping Finn wins, but I'm going to predict Edge.
It's probably going to be Edge, and hopefully they add a stip that the Judgment Day has to disband after this, and then because it sucks. I don't want Finn in there. Finn sucks in the Judgment Day. That character sucks.
I know
so much.
Bring us NXT Finn.
Priest is fine in there. I don't mind him being in there. I actually let him keep all of the entrance stuff. It looks like Damian Priest's entrance. Like it just does.
It does.
So I'm fine with it. I think that rules for Priest. Finn's in there to give the other guys credibility, but Rhea doesn't need it. She's a former champ. Tyler, what are we doing? I like her doing the thing with Dom. I asked on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, is it like work heat, like we're booing this heel, or is it go away heat? It's absolutely go away heat. Dom has nuclear go away heat. Nuclear Tyler. Like
Dom is useless chance, right?
Yes. Oh, that's so harsh.
It's not good.
But I know what they're trying to build that character because he doesn't have one. He's simply Ray's kid. And when Ray leaves, what do you have with Dominic Mysterio? I say put him in a lucha mask and start having him do other stuff. Like I don't know. I don't know what to say there. I just man, it sucks because Dom doesn't deserve that. That's gotta feel so shitty. But the crowd was really merciless on him, and it's like, yeah, it's character sucks. But I do like what they're doing with Rhea. But I like what Rhea is doing, not necessarily what Dom is doing. So
that's an important distinction.
Yeah. Okay, I think we should move on to my question or skip it entirely 23 minutes in. You can be brief on this one. SmackDown drew 2 million this week, 2.5 million the week before. Their demo was a 0.5 last week. Pretty great, considering it was up against hurricane coverage. Raw is definitely struggling to keep up. They were hitting kind of a lower number consecutively. They got 1.5 million this week, but it was Monday Night Football. And again, hurricane coverage. It was before it hit, but we were getting hurricane coverage at that point. What explains the rating success for SmackDown, do you think, in your opinion, and what do they do to keep it? Specifically because a lot of the discourse around SmackDown right now is that they need to do something to make the roster more interesting, which is surprising since they're beating Raw by 1 million people.
Right. Number one, being on Fox seems like a huge plus. I think particularly for this time of year. Brad, you really set me up well here, as you always do. Monday Night Football being a competitor, even though it was I would say a pretty terrible week for the NFL. I'm specifically referencing Tua and the Dolphins. We've just seen that they are, even though they may go through dips in viewership and support, the NFL is just such a behemoth that so much of a lot of our collective identities is wrapped up in Sunday, Monday, Thursday being all about the National Football League. So number one, NFL being back, that's already, you're operating at a deficit if you're Monday Night Raw. And now, especially with the rejuvenating of the NFL, people have been as excited for this season as I think really any. So that's number one. Number two, SmackDown being on Fox, one of the biggest networks in the country. So many people get it. That's going to give you viewers. And then three, even though the Bloodline has been certainly made appearances on Raw in recent memory, right? They're going to both shows. To me, so much of the identity of SmackDown is wrapped around the Bloodline. If Roman's there, that's a plus. But if we have a SmackDown like this past week where there is no Roman, the Bloodline is just such a main event faction that it leads me to want to tune in. Now, we spoke about this last week, Brad. Now with the addition of Solo and Sammy being as fantastic as ever, SmackDown, Bloodline to me are synonymous. Selfishly, Ricochet's on the show, so I want to tune in. I just think they have a really good thing going. And let me know what you think about this. I'll pass it back to you. For me, the idea of a 2-hour WWE show is just so much more appealing. If I'm tuning in, ideally, Brad, I want to watch from start to finish. I can do that with SmackDown. For Raw, I just know that I'm never going to watch it from start to finish because it's 3 hours. So those are my reasoning. Those are my reasons, I should say, the reasoning in my head. But what do you think? Any of those legit? Any of those resonate with you?
All of them, really. I think 3 hours of, and I'm sure we're going to end up talking about this a bit with AEW, of things that felt like fill. There's a lot of backstage segments, and not all of them are fruitful or productive. 3 hours is a long time to fill. You got to make it interesting if you're going to fill it. I thought they've done a much better job. I thought wrestling across the board this week was pretty flat. Like, I thought the shows were all pretty mediocre. WWE is building toward that pay-per-view. So I'm our premium live event. So I'm sure Raw tomorrow and SmackDown on Friday are going to bring it. And then in AEW, there was a hurricane affecting 3/4 of the people that live there. So hell, AEW is based out of Jacksonville. So what are you going to do? Like, who cares at that point? We're just glad they did something and they tried to entertain us. I think that's great. I think that affected viewership for both brands, but like SmackDown lost 500,000 people last Friday, but it had 2.5 million the week before. That's a shitload of viewership. That's great. That's one of the best numbers they've done in a while. So to get that, and then to have Dynamite be under 1 million because of the hurricane bearing down on Florida, like shredding it a new one. I mean, what are you going to do? Again, there are things that are just much more important. For WWE, I think they can sustain this if Triple H keeps booking it the way he's been booking. Raw is hard to fill out. I don't know that there's an answer other than not having a 3-hour show. 2 hours is perfect. It's like I'm invested the entire time. You can just keep moving. The pacing of Dynamite always seems to blow out anything that WWE does outside of SmackDown. When SmackDown is really on, the quality of the productions below everything AEW is doing out of the water in WWE. And it's much more tightly run. And it's obvious there aren't very many mistakes being made. Where, like in AEW, for example, this week music was played, but it was the exit music before the end of the match, so you already knew who won the match when the match started. I think it was Bryan Danielson, right?
Danielson, yeah, versus
which obviously we all knew what was going to happen there. But when they played the music when the match started, I was like, well, all right, like.
It was noticeable.
Yeah. You may as well just end it here, or
right.
People saying the wrong names and stuff like that. Commentary is just much more locked in WWE. But at the same time, I feel like it's much more free, especially with Taz there full time now on Dynamite. Oh my God, it's been a blast. Their commentary,
I love him.
Oh, it's so good. But I don't know if somebody else on commentary said it. or if it was a note from the back, but something came through on the mic, but it was like a redirection for the guys to like,
Oh, I must have missed that.
I just heard it really quickly. It was like, get back guys, something like that. And it sounded like Tony. And I was like, did they accidentally put that through the feed? Because then Excalibur said something and started talking about the match one more time. So anyway, it was really interesting. I think them having everything tight production wise, them telling compelling stories that are different than what we've been getting, is a way Triple H can keep the Triple H is doing it now momentum going. Because I know that's what part of this is, right? Like it's new. It's somebody else is running the company. Oh, it's interesting. Oh, they brought back Hit Row. Oh, they brought in the ladies from Damage Control. Oh, they signed Karrion Kross. Imperium is back, even though they need their own entrance.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman is back. Like they have all of this stuff. Candice, Johnny Gargano.
Candice
is back.
She's
back.
Candice Wrestling.
And
thank you for retweeting the Cedric Alexander lumbar check.
Oh, amazing
to Candice, by the way. That did appear on my timeline, and I appreciate you immensely.
She bounced 6 feet into the air off of that.
She's an absolute G. Yes.
Yeah.
Love Candice here.
Yeah, I thought that was great. So, in short, I think all of the things you said, I think keeping the momentum going by continuing to do what they're doing, by not feeling stagnated, by always trying to find something new. Tyler, this is the most simple thing in the world, and I'll end with this. We just went through the Extreme Rules matches so far. Which one isn't an Extreme Rules match?
The hold on. Not Brawling Brutes, right?
I'm just going to say this. Not a single one of them isn't some sort of extreme stip. Everyone, single match.
Even Donnybrook, yep.
Extreme Rules is finally Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
Like it's not an Extreme Rules match.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It is.
Because it makes sense. Awesome. You can't call it Extreme Rules and have it not be extreme.
But that's what it was for so long.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So I think
Plural.
For Triple H taking that and going, we're gonna make it this now, and we're gonna make it make sense, and we're going to acknowledge Inoki as a former champ, because he was, damn it, not Bob, I look like a chicken wing Backlund. Holy shit, dude. Like that was a huge moment that I don't think anybody is talking enough about, because wow, they don't acknowledge that stuff happened because it was never, quote, sanctioned. And I'm glad they brought it up. It was never officially recognized.
Graves said that on commentary.
I'm so happy they did, to go like, but now we are saying this is a person who was a former champion. And I think that absolutely rules. He got his flowers.
Insert LeBron Miami. It's about damn time gif.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That made me so happy, even though, we're all sad of his passing.
Of course.
He lived a hell of a life, and started New Japan. I found out listening to Dreamer on Busted Open that Inoki was working in the States as doing stuff with Vince McMahon, and they were doing stuff with people over in New Japan, and nobody knew he was the promoter. Like nobody knew it. He kept it out because he was also wrestling and stuff. So I think that's pretty incredible.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. There's so much history of wrestling that, even though I've been watching for a healthy amount of time, there's so much that predates me that I just need to go back and research. And not just like you're saying, Brad, not just in America, but the history of wrestling is so rich across the pond, and just in these other locations globally, that I just love this so much. And I know you do too.
Yeah, I absolutely love the history of professional wrestling. A lot of it feels like it sort of stopped after the Monday Night Wars, and now we just have like the modern era is really when it started, where it was like this earlier era.
Yeah.
And then even the era before WWF, when it was still WWF, the 9 WFs. And NWA and basically all the other promotions, the smaller territories, before they got all bought out by Vinnie Mac. It's crazy. And one could say, Tyler, that we are living in a wrestling paradise now. And speaking of paradise, it's time for a special edition of A Rose from Paradise.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
That was so crisp. Yes, thank you. So, Brad, I have a huge development for you and the Gimmick Infringement universe. I did tune in to the Bachelor in Paradise season premiere. I was pretty adamant that, okay, I'm only going to commit a certain amount of months of my life per year to the actual Bachelor Bachelorette franchise proper. Want to believe in love. I want to believe in these people and their genuine intentions. But I found myself scrolling to the Bachelorette. The Bachelor in Paradise. Let me get it right. Found myself scrolling there, Brad, and I actually watched all 2 hours of this. It is utterly ridiculous in so many ways, which I'm sure is not a surprise to you hearing this from me. But I will say it's more entertaining than I thought it would be. I now know that the folks who go to this beach in Mexico to hang out for several weeks, they are there presumably to find love. So their first chance at finding love did not work out on their Bachelor Bachelorette seasons, but now they are here. And the goal, Brad, the goal of the show, which I recently learned, is that they are ideally finding love on this beach. Ideally, they are going to leave Mexico with a person and maybe even an engagement. I didn't realize that was part of the stipulation. What I will tell you, though, is I will be tuning in this season, and it is largely because of 3 people. On the women's side of things, we have just some absolutely brilliant, beautiful sisters. I'm going to give you their names real quick. We have Serene, we have Teddy, and we have Sierra. I did not realize all 3 of them were going to be on this show. I am in, and I got to put you onto this, Brad. I know there's 0% chance that if you're not going to watch Bachelor Bachelorette, I know there's no chance you're going to watch this because it's even more ridiculous. But I am in, and this will not be the last time, if I'm saying this, that you hear me speak about Bachelor in Paradise.
That's amazing. All right, man. I'm excited to get more. I don't know if the Rose report needs to change to. I don't know.
Yeah, something more tropical or paradise themed. Because it's not an elimination every week, from what I understand. People are going to come and go from the season, but ultimately the goal is that we have couples, strong, healthy couples, by the end of the show, and maybe even an engagement. So I don't know, man. I'm a total novice at this, but I will tell you that I think they got me.
Here, I'm sending you in the chat. Maybe this is what we go here.
Yes.
And we just make it entirely Spanish themed. Since we're in Mexico. Yeah. I don't know, man. I want to go there. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
I think it would be great.
Beach looks delicious. Yeah.
Man. Tyler, I'm ready for your AEW question.
Yeah, Brad, let's do it. This one was inspired by some scrolling on Twitter that I did over the weekend. Brad, All Elite Wrestling Dynamite premiered on TNT 3 years ago today. We are recording on October 2nd, 3-year anniversary. The show opened with Sammy Guevara versus Cody and closed with the formation of Chris Jericho's Inner Circle. Obviously, sandwiched in the middle, we had Riho versus Nyla Rose, which probably my favorite match on the entire card. MJF, Jon Moxley, Pac versus Hangman Page. It was a really loaded episode.
Yeah.
My question for you, what do you remember most from your first days of watching AEW? And has the company met your expectations as a fan up to this point?
Second part's a tough question. I would say yes, they met my expectations because I didn't really have any. Now I do, and I think they're unfair and unreasonable. So they were the alternative to Vince McMahon for me. They are no longer the alternative to Vince McMahon. They are a show that's also on at the same during the same time. So now it's like, now I love this promotion for something that it has become. And And I just want quality wrestling, and I want it to look different. I want it to look more like a sport, or I want it to feel more like the stuff I grew up with. WWE is so foreign to me from what I grew up with now that I can't even put it in the same category as what it was. Like, it's just so different. Like, going back and watching like early Raw, or even Raw before it was like Raw is War, before the Attitude Era, when they were doing stuff in those small arenas and everything looked like it was made out of wood. Like, I don't know how to describe it. The crowd was lit up. The entrance was sort of like brown and small. It still looked like the 80s, or with Attitude Era wrestlers on it. So it was weird. It was a really weird transition. I'm thinking of like Razor Ramon against the 1-2-3 Kid. We had these time periods where it was like, these are all familiar stars in this familiar space, and it had a very specific aesthetic before getting bigger and grander and becoming what we knew as the Attitude Era Raw and eventually SmackDown. AEW feels like that right now, where it's like, it's not the Attitude Era. It looks like the Attitude Era in its own kind of way, mixed with New Japan, but I don't even know how to describe it. It kind of feels like they jumped the shark a little bit. Like, they didn't have the growing pains and they went straight into Attitude Era. And now we're getting growing pains. Now we're seeing like, oh, we need some organizational things in place because a bunch of people are pissed. A bunch of people aren't getting screen time. FTR is going on other promotions to say, Tony Khan, we still work for you, so book us, brother, after their battle with Aussie Open, which is, yeah, you got to book them. Like, they want to work. Everybody wants to get paid, but ultimately people want to work, because if you're getting paid and you're not working, how are you going to get another job when your contract expires? So, plus people enjoy doing it, like, because they only have so long.
And not to mention, you're referencing inarguably one of the best tag teams in the world, who most have number 1 or number 2. I mean, all these talents are fantastic in their own ways, but for FTR's case, this is universally recognized as, oh yeah, this is either number 1 or number 2 on most people's list. You got to have them.
Yeah, and they're an all-time team. It's not just right now. They're an all-time team. Probably top 5 all-time.
Inarguably, really.
Yeah, and to have them not on your show, or on your show to make merch that says what is it, like FT War for the Wardlow trios thing they were doing, which immediately broke up, and it's
Wardlow's run,
Wardlow's run has been an absolute ham sandwich of a run here. Like, I
want the TNT title to mean something. When Miro had it, it was my favorite belt on TV.
Yeah. So, but I guess to your point is, I've been really disappointed with the last year or so of AEW. Like, really disappointed.
What's been at the top of your list? Women's
4,000 belts. Why do we have 150 belts in this company? ROH is there. AAA is there. This dumb mixed tag bullshit that could be done I don't want any of this stuff on my screen. It's like, it's AEW. So why is ROH here? Like, get them out of here. Like, fine. Samoa Joe is, and boy, I couldn't predict what would have happened there. Bandito against Chris Jericho. Bandito, who nobody in AEW has heard of.
Right.
Like, if you have casual fans watching this, they're going like, who the hell is Bandito? Google, like, trying to figure it out. Like, with the clan mask on. Like, you got to figure out like all of this stuff.
The mask doesn't do anything for me.
It's like White Serpentico. It's very long.
Very much so. Very much so.
And cool. That's fine. I don't know. I don't know what Bandito is. Why? Because luchadors don't speak into a microphone. Yeah. So I never know what any of these people are.
To your point, this is my first time seeing him. Obviously, I'd heard of him. I think he had that match versus Gresham at one of the ROH events.
I have too.
But this is a formal introduction, right?
But Tyler, there are 2 trios belts, tag team belts that aren't. They're finally, like, the last couple of months they've been good. I thought Jurassic Express was not a good run with the belts. But since Swerve in their glory and now the Acclaimed, I think it's going to be a good run. They probably had the match of the week in that triple threat tag match for AEW. I thought it was great.
Even ahead of Tony versus Serena.
That match was pretty good, but it was only okay until the finish. And you remember the finish. The finish
is what put it over.
Because I can't get everything that led up to the match out of my head, and it was all very bad. So
does that segment though from Wednesday? So Soraya's promo, even though she acknowledged she
said she was rusty,
working off the rust, but her getting time in the promo, and then followed by the Lumberjill match, Tony wins. Did you think that was a sign of improvement?
Yes, absolutely.
Hope that
100%
the women's division is on the upswing.
Number one, the women all got time. Number two, Saraya got to speak, and it's going to be rusty. It's the way. I mean, she hasn't been in the ring for like what, 5 years, 4 years, something like that. It's been a crazy long time. So she's in there doing her thing. Britt, I always think what she has to say is really good. I never fully love the way she says it. It's too breathy for me, and it feels unnatural, like it's rehearsed. Because she'll talk and then she'll do this, and nobody talks like this. Nobody talks like that, like nobody. So it bothers me when it's not natural, because then I go like, you're really forcing it there, Britt. But what she says is always like great,
Dragon Fire,
absolute money,
right?
So I wish that part would change a little bit, but I don't know, man. I'm not in love with what happened there, but you can't deny the talent that all came out to the ring at the same time. I mean, that is an awful lot of talent in that roster room,
including Willow.
Roster room. Jesus. Yes, including Willow.
Willow's here.
And Jade wasn't even out there, and Ruby's still hurt. And like there's Thunder Rosa's still out. Diamante wasn't out there. There's Layla's still on the shelf. Statlander's still on the shelf.
Statlander, yeah.
There's an absolute ton of talent on this roster now, and I think it's just gotten a lot better now that because we've had so many injuries now that we have this new blood in there. But no, I just think there's too many belts, man. Like, I think it's cool when people bring the belts out. I don't want them defended on AEW TV. Like, I just don't want to see them. If Adam Cole comes back and he's carrying the Owen belt, I'm going to be pissed. The FTR belt is a cool, like, I don't know, a cool belt buckle, but like ultimately it doesn't mean anything. It means something to Hook, but like it's an unsanctioned belt that just exists. And correct me if I'm wrong, none of the matches have been extreme matches. So what exactly is that belt?
Maybe Starks versus Cage a while back on Rampage was, but that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, like right now it's just sort of a belt that exists, and it's kind of it. So yeah, way too many belts and way too much stuff forcing. I know Tony's in a tough spot and he's got to get all of his employees to work, but like put that ROH stuff on, just fucking put it on Dark. Like, I don't need it on AEW television. I just don't. Like, there's too many people in the AEW roster that are here. And I know we want to build stars to get to here. Build them somewhere else. Like, because Miro hasn't been on TV in like a month and a half. What the hell?
Yeah.
Andrade, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm pissed, Tyler.
Yeah, we can tell, my dude. Rest assured. I'm not even going to add to that. You bring up great points. And to end that with Miro, I think that's probably one of, if not the most damning examples of, man, this guy is he's just waiting to create more magic.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get to see him someday. Speaking of someday, Tyler, it's time for someday when you have kids.
And now it's time for
I'm crazy.
Someday when you have kids.
You're crazy.
Tyler, yesterday, I'm doing this. I'm probably a little bit more pissed off because I'm hungover. A little bit hungover, not a lot of hungover, just a little bit foggy. I usually don't drink, and I had some last night, and I just feel foggy. What I was drinking was witch's brew. Tyler, we decided to throw a Hocus Pocus party for Freya. Freya thought it would be a really great time to watch Hocus Pocus 2 that just came out on Disney Plus. Yes. And she wanted to make cookies wear Halloween related tees. Jess got me a Camp Crystal Lake tee from Ross, and it was a
Get out of
large.
here.
Yeah, I don't know what it's a large for, but it's like barely below my nipples. So I don't know what the hell kind of shirt that was. No, tiny.
Crop top.
That's crop top. It was not a shirt. It was not a large men's shirt. It was a large like dog shirt because it was a weird length. I don't know how to describe it.
And when she was
grabbed
assessing
she got it off the women's rack for sure and thought it was for me. And then she got another shirt that was like, well, I got this. The only size they had was an extra large, and it's the one she wore. And I was like, all right, I guess fuck me.
Crop top season. Let's go.
Yeah. So I, on the other hand, I wore the White Rabbit shirt, and then this morning got up to wash it because I know we have another gig later on. But when I tell you, I don't even want to talk about the fun she had. She came out dressed like one of the witches, the Sarah Jessica Parker witch. She has her dress. She had a very whitish blonde wig. She put on the makeup, and then she started making the frosted cookies. Tyler, someday when you have kids, you are going to find out for yourself the tornado, the irritating tornado that happens when you give a kid that much sugar. When I tell you she was jumping and running off of everything, I mean everything. She was just nuts. And I said, we're not ever doing that again. Not ever. That sugar went right into her bloodstream and made her an insane person. But after Grandma and Grandpa left, things calmed down. She helped clean up. And she, on the way over to take the popcorn bowl, which is this big seashell-shaped glass bowl, she must have tripped, and she absolutely smashed it on the ground into oblivion. Yeah, she wrecked it.
Yeah.
And I don't care. It's just a bowl.
Of course.
Like, who cares? But she got a little cut on her arm and a little cut on her knee. Nothing serious. Barely even. She was fine until she saw the blood.
Yeah.
Like literally, she didn't know she was cut.
So I'm getting Blackpool Combat Club class of 2036 vibes.
Oh, when she saw the blood, she started screaming. So no, probably not.
Okay. We'll work on it.
Yeah, but as far as like the pain, she didn't notice it. And she was more scared because I went, what just happened? Because I couldn't see it. And she thought I was mad at her for the bowl. I was just like, the hell was that really loud noise I heard? I'm kind of buzzing here. And suddenly a bowl's exploding somewhere. And yeah, she felt really bad. And that made all of us feel really bad. We're like, it's just popcorn in a bowl. Are you okay? Because who cares about popcorn in a bowl? Mm-hmm. And someday when you have kids, you'll have to throw a party, Tyler. Sugar, cuts, whatever else may happen. It's a wild time, but man, is it memorable, and man, was it fun. So I'm really happy about it. I'm hoping someday she'll be into like a wrestling party. I'm hoping we could do WrestleMania cookies this year. I doubt Full Gear cookies are happening, but yeah, I hope you get to experience this someday when you have kids.
That was beautiful, man. Thank you so much, as always. What you ended with made me think of a tweet I saw on your timeline, I should say, which was, I think, a young fan, a young girl with her father. They attended an AEW show, and the father was tweeting, "Thank you so much to," I think it was FTR, Swerve, and Ty. Yeah, Ty Mello. Right. Thanking them for coming over to they were on the ramp, and those talents that I mentioned came over and interacted with the daughter. And I think you tweeted that you can't wait for that day with Freya, which, man, that was just the best thing I saw all week. So I have a feeling the AEW themed party, the Full Gear party, is definitely forthcoming. Hopefully as soon as, what do you think, realistically, Full Gear 23? Probably not ready this Full Gear.
I don't know, man. We can definitely do it if we make it themed after a specific person. I did see, and I'm sure you did too in your email, in your inbox, Danhausen masks and a Danhausen cape you can get at Shop AEW. I don't have any money, but if I did, I would be buying that for Freya. I'm so bummed I can't, because we did just get something else for her. Probably the Halloween stuff is what I'm thinking of. And I was like, I probably shouldn't spend any more on this.
And
but
the dude's got protein supplements now.
Yeah.
Just, man, what a great businessman. That dude is really, I respect it. Respect the hustle. Everywhere.
Yeah, he has an energy drink. He has protein supplements. He's being sponsored by a coffee company. He has all of his merch. He does his Patreon vlog stuff. Like, that dude is everywhere, just hustling. For a character that, like, man, if there were no pandemic, he doesn't exist. That dude made absolute lemonade out of lemons. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Speaking of incredible and AEW and matches coming up, I didn't say that, but that's what I'm doing. That's my transition. Clunky as it is. This is about the mask versus career match coming up. If 10, Preston Vance, loses the mask, is he effective? This is a two-part depending on the outcome. Is he effectively done with Dark Order? Does he no longer associate with Dark Order? If Andrade loses and leaves AEW, presumably as a work, but we don't know, do you want to see him come back as La Sombra? And I don't know if you've seen this. Have you seen La Sombra?
I don't think I have. I know of his existence.
That's what got him signed to WWE in a luchador mask.
Right. And he comes out in his entrance back in WWE and in AEW as sort of a tribute to that earlier time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. So yes, I would love to see that if he was repackaged, he being Andrade, pronouns pal. But I don't think there's any way Andrade loses this match, Brad. And you and I may see this differently. You may have some hope that, or not hope, but I think you are more open to the idea that Andrade possibly gets pinned. I don't think so. You found a great tweet from his assistant. I forget the dude's name.
Jose the assistant.
Jose the assistant. Thank you. Great character.
Yeah.
You found that tweet. Thank you for sending that my way, which was him really reflecting on, if this is it, Andrade, I think you're one of the best in the world. Thank you for our time together. So on and so forth. I think he even used his real name, Andrade's real name. I think that's absolutely a work, though. I do not see any way 10 beats Andrade in this mask versus career match. So I'm going to focus more quickly on the first part of your question. 10 loses is my prediction, and obviously ditches the mask. I do think this means his time with Dark Order is done. I don't want to see Dark Order just dissolve, but at this point, Brad, I don't know that Dark Order can be resurrected. And I say that on the heels of Silver and Reynolds and Hangman having a banger in the trios match at All Out. But to me, it just seems like Dark Order was the most over faction in AEW. They had an awesome run, spurred by, unfortunately, the untimely passing of Brody Lee. But now I think we're at a point where instead of trying to rejuvenate Dark Order, it might make more sense to go the opposite route and them, embrace my heart, Brad, but them sort of just disbanding. I think 10 losing the mask will lead to him leaving Dark Order, and I don't know what comes next for him. I don't know if he starts working for Andrade or he builds up some solo victories on Dark and Elevation. But to me, him losing the mask is a sign that he's out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think exactly what you said. I think he's out. I mean, he's not a bad looking dude. He's held gold in small promotions. Having him in a mask, I always thought was kind of dumb. Having Grayson in a mask was always kind of dumb. Having Angels in a mask was always kind of dumb. I think all of the masks aside from Evil Uno in Dark Order, I've hated. I've never really understood covering them up. I don't know how to feel about this, because like, what do you do with Evil Uno? I don't know what he does. If 10 leaves Dark Order, you have Uno, Silver, Reynolds, the end. There's nobody left. Hangman, if you count him. Anna Jay's doing. It's okay what she's doing. She's trying something new. Sometimes it's great.
I'll choke you out. Yeah, it's something that exists on the show. I'll say
that. Yeah.
It exists.
Sometimes it's a pop, and sometimes it's just a mess.
I'm happy she's getting screen time.
That's all. That's it. But like Ty, who was kind of there, with her.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. She was definitely a
there's
member
no
without it
no
being
longer
acknowledged.
yeah, there's no longer any women. There's only 4 of them. Brody Lee Jr. is MIA. So
Yeah.
so I don't really know what the point of Dark Order is at this point. Yeah.
I think it's
I think they could disband it and I'd be fine with it, and they could reform it at some later day as like a
Exactly.
10-year anniversary.
We got
or
it. Yeah, we
something,
have
a 5-year tribute.
We have to. It's just so
Yeah.
sad to me that Brad, they were the talk of AEW. There was just so much fan support for them.
Yeah.
And it seems like in no time whatsoever, I don't know if it's the booking, I don't know if it's the signings of higher profile talent, but man, it's just, to me, it's sad. 'Cause I don't think maybe we did get the moment, Brad. Maybe it was Hangman beating Kenny. Dark Order comes out and celebrates. Maybe that was the moment. Maybe I'm not giving enough credit to. We did get some really satisfying moments with Dark Order, but I just wish there was more longevity.
Well, the Brody Lee tribute night was probably it.
Number one. Yep.
And everybody was booing them up until that point. So it's really complicated, man. I don't know that there's my favorite Dark Order moments were either in BTE or on Dark. Like that's kind of it. So that sucks. But yeah, man, I'm kind of hoping Andrade loses and has to come back repackaged. Give him some time off, even though, like, what is he needed for? He's not wrestling. This is my frustration. Going back to your question, we have all this other stuff going on in the show. Andrade, Miro, although Andrade might be hurt. If he's not working for that much time, he might just be injured, and we don't know about it. But Rush is signed now. Rush and Hangman. Oh boy, is that going to be a slapper when that happens. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on right now, and none of it seems to have anything to do with anything. MJF and Yuta feels like a placeholder, but I'm fine with it because I think it'll be really, really good. Those two have wrestled and have chemistry, so I'm pumped for that. I think that's going to be entertaining as hell. Yuta has no chance. I think it'll be good. I don't like what they're doing with the Firm right now. The Firm exists. You have Morrissey in there, and he's just that. That's all he is. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Someone who choke slams Fuego into the next century. The
Gun Club looked like they were going to be next in line, and now they just are goons for hire, and they don't talk anymore. It's disappointing. It's really disappointing. I know they're trying to do something with the other guys that are kind of under those two in particular. Morrissey was WWE. They had the tag belts, right? So
I don't think him and Cass
they never won.
No, that surprisingly, they did not win them.
They weren't there super long, so
no, but they definitely left an impact. No pun intended. Morrissey and Cass never held gold, but they were by far the most over tag team in NXT at that time.
To think that Morrissey and Singh haven't come face to face yet, like that's going to be a fun thing to happen. Like that'll be awesome.
Yeah, and Lee Moriarty getting time, being back on.
That's what I was going to say. Lee Moriarty being there, Page being there doesn't make any sense, but Lee Moriarty being there makes a ton of sense. Ethan Page needs to be on his own. Ethan Page needs to be wrestling.
He does.
Give him a microphone. Let him wrestle. He doesn't need anybody. He's great.
No. Yeah.
But I feel the same way about Tony Nese. His character, though, is he's athletic. Help the man.
Yeah, and he really has become, to me, it would seem like Josh Woods' sort of lackey.
Yeah.
Josh Woods is the badass of that tag team, and Tony Nese is sort of the kind of the comedy character at this point.
Yeah, which sucks because that's not Tony Nese.
No, absolutely not.
But this is honest. But this is why I think that AEW could benefit from a writing team, even if it's not used every week, just to help the people that need it, that need to have help with promos, that need to have help with storytelling and storylines, just having idea people. And I know their idea people are all the other wrestlers there, but is that really realistic and sustainable? Do you really want just Chris Jericho running everything while also running his own stuff? I feel like there's conflict of interest sitting there. And I think he would be very helpful, but I also think he's going to want to help Chris Jericho, not selfishly. It's just what you're going to do, right? Like I'm worried about my own stuff. I want to make sure it's working. I want to help my faction get over. I want to help my brand continue, and I want to make sure that these make sense and look good. Okay, I'm going to help this guy. Oh, that takes away from Daddy Magic, or this takes away from Garcia, or this there's a responsibility there that you can't really fault somebody that's writing their own stuff for their own faction and coming up with their own ideas for those things to want to help each other. So by helping other people, you may hurt yourself. It's very complicated. And I think if you put it in a writer's hands or a creative's hands, it takes away from some of that conflict.
Yeah, you put it perfectly, Brad. I am always grateful for your thorough AEW analysis. And I'm also ready to spread some gratitude here. I think it's time for us to share what we're grateful for this week.
And now it's time for a little self-reflection. So, think about yourselves. Or something.
Amazing transition. Amazing transition.
I'm just trying to live up to your bar, man. It's a high bar. So moment of gratitude for this week. I will try to be quick. Of course, the weather. I know that might sound silly to some of our listeners, especially in other parts of the country who maybe haven't been to Arizona, but October is such a glorious month. We get to be outside, Brad. We get to open windows and go for walks and just activities that we don't get to do for several months out of the year. But then number two, I don't think you and I have spoken about this at great length before. Please let me know if I'm wrong. But I am really grateful for the return of one of my favorite shows on television. No, not Atlanta this week. I'm talking about Abbott Elementary, Brad. You and I are high school teachers. You are still in the thick of it. You are a hero in your community, and I can't commend you and your colleagues enough. I mean it, man. The work you do every day. It's just like, this is a high horse. Like, name a tougher job than being a teacher. And you can tell me
it's probably a
without
ton,
having done this,
yeah,
excluding being a first responder and putting your life on the line, absolute heroes as well. Being a teacher is just, Brad, you spoke about it in the opening of today's episode. You just do so much, and it's work that comes straight from your heart. So anyway, Abbott Elementary, I can't think of another show that has shown what the life of a teacher is like and been so honest, so accurate, and presented it in such an entertaining, at times comedic way. It's shades of The Office, but much blacker and much more. It just resonates with me in a different way. I have so many people in my life that are huge Office fans, and it's entertaining. I enjoy watching the clips too, but I think Abbott with Quinta Brunson, they just have something really special going on. And I watch the show every Wednesday, and I think about you. I think about all of the amazing people that I've had the chance to work with, and how the work is just driven by your love of learning, most importantly, your love of kids, and the camaraderie that can be built with your colleagues at a school. I think is really special, and maybe you don't get the chance to know people that well in other career fields. I think, Brad, with teaching, we just tend to see each other at our worst days, at our best days, and I mean, man, working at Marana introduced me to you, and in no uncertain terms was the origin of helping create Gimmick Infringement.
Yeah.
So really grateful for Abbott Elementary, and I'll stop my soliloquy here. I love the show, and it makes me feel good when I watch, and reminds me that I need to check on you and check on other people in my life who are still in the classroom that are just doing the Lord's work every day, I guess, as my mother would say. I have so much respect and admiration for you and all of the great people at Marana High School. So grateful for Abbott, grateful for you, and grateful for some cooler temps.
Very nice. I appreciate you. I'm grateful as a hero in the community for a fall break, so that I can stop being a hero in the community for a week and get caught up planning so my stuff doesn't suck when we return. I am grateful for that. I'm also grateful for you, for GI, for Jess just being sort of a superhero. She doesn't stop. She's just stop doing stuff. She told me, I got really excited because she's like, I think I'm going to take some time off over break and I was like, oh, good. We could spend some time. Maybe we do a quick road trip or something. No, she's taking a time off to work. She's taking time off to work on Wonder and Wander. For those of you listening that have made it this far, if you go to Wonder and Wander's website, you can check Jess. I don't know any of these socials. I just follow her. It's absolutely abysmal that I don't know any of this stuff. I'm pulling it up right now.
Shout out to Wonder and Wander. Amazing.
Absolutely. If you had to, the QR code on my phone, it's about to appear. In the YouTube video. If you head to that QR code, you will see an advertisement for Wonder Wander putting out a podcast class for teenagers. So if you have teens in your life looking to learn how to be a podcaster, Jabari Davis, formerly of 19 Media and currently of iHeartRadio, is going to be running those classes, and you can get a discount if you use the QR code. So great opportunity. Really grateful for people in my life that I know just doing cool stuff together, and it's kind of amazing. I'm also really grateful that I have all of my faculties at this point, and when I'm editing, I'm going to be grateful for the bleep button.
I love it, man. I need to know, what are you, kind of similar to gratitude, maybe a little different. What are you most looking forward to this week? For me, my mind is fully locked in on wrestling. Of course, I know I have work and a job to show up to, and I think I'll hopefully meet some great people this week. But my mind is so focused on Saturday, Brad, and Extreme Rules for all the reasons we spoke about earlier.
Yeah,
that's where my mind is at. But hopefully, the shoot job goes well, and hopefully we get some really entertaining episodes this week of Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Rampage, et cetera, et cetera. Anything stick out to you? Work, personal, fall break, I know is near.
Yeah, Extreme Rules, fall break. Eating healthy. I know it sounds weird, but like I'm a creature of routine, and I don't set them for myself. I am two things. I'm in two worlds. I'm of two worlds. I am of ADHD and I am of needing structure, but because I have ADHD, I don't give myself that structure. So I get really frustrated and down and depressed if I'm not exercising, and I haven't exercised in months, and I feel probably the way I look. I am absolutely turning it into a can of crescent rolls. Like it's just what it is.
What?
Yes.
I got to call you out. What?
Yeah, absolutely.
Blasphemy.
Yeah. Well, it's going to change.
Listeners, viewers, please at Winduster, please let him know that this is just not an accurate statement.
Nobody's seen me with my shirt off. We've
not gotten to that level of friendship. No,
it's if I'm running right now, if I stop, the rest of me won't. So I need to fix that. We're working on it. So excited. Thank you to was it Huel for the meal replacements. I'm saying thank you like they're a sponsor. If you'd like to be a sponsor, Huel, I'm actually gonna tag them. Code GI. Trying their stuff and seeing how it works, and filling my belly for the day, and using it's gainfully, I think, gainfully. I can't remember, for the protein powders. I like that they have a custom mix for people based on their level of activity, their age, and their goals. That's awesome. Versus just going to the Optimum Nutrition bucket, which is what I was going to go to, but it seems like pandemic prices knocked them up about $20 a jar. So it's like, do I really want to spend $80 on this protein powder?
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
80,
so
80
$79.99 for a 5-pound bucket.
Free shipping.
Well, it's Prime, so yeah.
Okay, Prime. Yeah, there you go. Makes sense.
But I'm still like, Gainfully's probably a little bit more expensive, but it's more sustainable. And I'm not gonna, like, if I get injured, it's not gonna expire because I only have it for a month. So, I'm just looking forward to getting back into a healthier state of mind, and kind of reframing everything, because man, I'm burnt out. Kids, school, going back to college, trying to do GI and do it well, and give the viewers and listeners what they deserve, and trying to come up with content. I've been working on an article on and off here that I keep rewriting because I'm not happy with it. To think of another one I just thought of, to also maybe we do another one this week for our Extreme Rules predictions. I think there's a lot on the horizon to look forward to, man. This is like kind of like what more I'm grateful for, but there's just so much to look forward to.
Yeah. And in October, can't believe we're ending the episode with this. I didn't think of this earlier. We've now reached the month that signifies 1 year of Gimmick Infringement.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal, my dude. Like we've made it 12 months later.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day. What should we do? What should we do to celebrate? We've already passed some milestones by accident without realizing we've done it. So what can we do going forward? So there's just so much to be grateful for and so much to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Well, I said it once, I'll say it again. You can follow Brad at Winduster on Twitter. You can follow me at Tyler J. McDowell. We are at GIPod19. 19 Media Group can be found at 19M Group. We so thank you all for your support, your love, your encouragement. As Brad alluded to, we have some special content on the horizon to celebrate our 1 year. So stay with us, stay tuned, and we hope you'll join us next week. Or maybe as soon as Extreme Rules Preview, Brad. We hope you'll join us whenever the next episode of Gimmick Infringement is released, which obviously will be soon. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Good Pods, our premier partners, and Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.